Hello, hello, and welcome to Ask The Regulator, powered by BuildMySOP.com. I am your host, Kady Cravens, founder and CEO at BuildMySOP. And joined with me this evening is Tom Mohan, our VP of Regulatory Affairs.
Hi, Kady. My name's Tom Mohan, and I've got over 30 years of experience in EMS and law enforcement, most notably with 7 years working for the Marijuana Enforcement Division in Colorado. And I'm happy to be here.
And we also have our guest speaker tonight, Russ Wright.
Hi, Kady. Hey, Tom. Glad to be here. I've been a trainer off and on with the Boulder Police Department on fake IDs, and I've been a tips trainer for 12 years.
So, and then my background, just to let you guys out there know a little bit about me. My name is Kady, and I have a background in cannabis starting in 2014, actually as a janitor in a facility, and working my way through almost every position in the industry, eventually becoming a compliance director for a top producing globally known brand. And now I am here with BuildMySOP. So our first question of the evening is, what type of IDs are acceptable to conduct a cannabis sale?
I'll take that one, Kady. So the first one that we all look at is the driver's license. The driver's license and the identification card issued by any state in the United States, which is going to be 50 plus the District of Columbia, which also covers the 5 territories of the U.S. All of those identifications can be used to purchase marijuana. The other ones that aren't so much seen are going to be U.S. military IDs, and then lastly are going to be tribal IDs. So if you look at the cards, they're going to have pretty much the same information. They're going to have the tribal information on it. They're going to have the person's name, date of birth, and usually demographics of the person that's pictured on it.
Our next question is, what are we looking for, and how do we properly verify an ID at the point of sale?
Yeah, so this is the current Colorado one. Both of these are currently in circulation. They're going to have to check for the, of course, for the birth date, which is that kind of wavy line at the bottom. They changed it and made it a little bolder on the newer ones. And you can look under a black light, to make sure the black light verification works too. This is an example of a bad UV. UV is something we do look at, one of the red flags. I always suggest that these dispensaries have the latest Colorado ID or the American driver license books that show all the states, and they will show the UV in the back of the book.
And so we're going to be discussing, where do fake IDs come from?
What I've found over the years, it's kind of changed as the internet has become more in the forefront. It used to be, it'd be a guy in the back room of a dorm somewhere, or back room of a place on the boardwalk that would make them. But now most of these kids are getting them out of China.
I've actually seen a video where we did an underage sale, and we sent in the operative, and the bud tender took the ID, flagged a black light over it while she was looking up at the camera, never even looked at the ID itself, and said, okay, move along here, nothing to see, and actually allowed the person into a restricted access area. So that's the importance of having the SOP in place. No matter what age they are, it's in a horizontal state. So a lot of people get confused, even if they present an over 21 or under 21 card, because it's horizontal. That's why if you have an SOP in place that says what diligent steps you should do, they'll catch that.
All right, well, let's talk about some actual fake IDs that you've confiscated, Russell, and some of the red flags to look for and what a fake ID looks like.
First off, the way that I got to know IDs was checking the UV. It's the design there. It's not the proper design. The whole background that's going on there is not what should be shown on a New York ID, state IDs. One thing I started noticing on fake IDs, they may just use the wrong type font. It could just be off a little bit. It could be too bold. It could be too light. See how it's just a blue background. We're talking about shadows in an upcoming slide, but there's no shadow behind this guy's head. Generally on most IDs, some states have gone to cutting the backgrounds out, but if you notice on this one, his head's just cut out and looked like it's put on a blue background. The picture doesn't look natural. Serial number is next on the right side there. There's a guy that's panning for gold there. You see him? I grew up in California, so I'm a little familiar with this, but there's a guy panning for gold. And if you hold that up to a light behind, any kind of light behind it, and look at it up, you're going to see the light coming through the holes. Judge those holes, because that's another red flag.
Wow. And I wanted to talk about some of the tools that we recommend that every front desk has at their facility. So we talked a little bit about the black light and then a loop too, right? And then we talked about the scanners and why not to depend on those fully, because they can still scan even if it's a fake ID.
They've got that confidence built up, but it all comes down to the visualization, what you're seeing.
Yeah, this is fake. I need to hang on to it. No worries. All right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of the things that you just saw right there is they don't want the confrontation with the police. So another telltale, even if you think it's a fake, it's 100%, you're like, hey, I think this is a fake. Sometimes they'll tell you, no, it's not. Let's call the police and confirm that. And that's another telltale is what you just saw is, well, I don't want anybody else seeing me.
He said,
okay.
No worries.
No worries. I just lost $200 on a fake ID. I got to go get a new one now.
Well, it's also, can be looked at as being identity theft too, if they're using somebody else's.
Yeah, I think these are fraudulent, which means I have to have the Boulder police come down, or you could walk away.
Yeah.
Do you get $15 per person or per occurrence?
Per ID.
Oh, so that was a good one.
Tom, from a regulator's perspective, if someone does do a sale using a fake ID, let's say that they used the scanner, they used the black light, and you guys, catch them conducting an underage sale with a fake ID, what does that look like for the dispensary?
Some of these IDs are really good.
Yeah.
What we actually do, or what we've done, is we'll actually go back and look and see what did they actually do to see if this ID was fraudulent or not. We understand that fake IDs are going to get through. The technology that China, the IDs from China that Russ was saying that came through, they started scanning on scanners. They started implementing these security features. And what I've seen in the past, as far as some of the punishment that comes down from underage sales, is that licensee has to make them get that training if they don't already have it. If they already had it, then it was a mitigating factor, and sometimes the fines weren't as steep.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this evening for
Thanks,
Ask the
Kady.
Regulator, how to spot a fake ID. Again, with me is Russ Wright and Tom Mohan. I am your host, Kady Cravens. I hope everyone has a great rest of their evening,
Thanks, guys.
and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.